The Campbell's soup can, one of the most prevalent pieces in pop art history. Who made it? How? What inspired it? Well, I might just be able to give you a visual. This is Andy Warhol. Wait, no, hang on. This is Andy. Andy used to illustrate children's books like 25 Cats Named Sam. However, his popularity cast a shadow over his other works that deserve praise, like this one, named Flowers. Flowers was first exhibited in 1964. At the time, Flowers was seen as a refreshing departure from Warhol's prints addressing mass culture and brands. Anybody else think of Labubu's? Just kidding. It would actually be Coca-Cola for the time. Andy Warhol was influenced by celebrity culture, mass consumerism, and questioning traditional art with new styles. When he was noticed by Tina Fredericks, he got popular in Hollywood and got a boom of commissions. He wore a white wig, which became a trademark for him. Andy was considered one of the leaders in pop art culture. Born in 1928, Andy Warhol was extremely close to his mother, who was also an artist in her own right as a calligrapher, which is seen on many of Warhol's drawings. After Warhol had graduated from the Carnegie Institute of Technology, Julia joined him in New York City in 1952 and lived with him for almost 20 years. After Andy Warhol died in 1987, he was discovered to have had an extensive collection of cookie jars. Nobody really knows why, but he Andy Warhol's book, 25 Cats Named Sam, was extensively well known as a children's book and featured his mother's handwriting. The book included drawings of their own cats that they housed in their house, which they had 25 cats sharing the same name. Andy Warhol's most prevalent art style was influenced by the pop art movement, which began in the 1950s and featured bold colors, straight black lines, and usually manifested in screen printing. You might equally recognize this type of artwork off of comic book covers, which are vintage from the time. Andy Warhol did not grow up rich or privileged. In fact, he came from a very humble beginning where most of the time his family would feast on these soup cans by Campbell's. He included 32 in this big series, all of which were screen printed. At 8 years old, Andy contracted a rheumatic fever, a disease that is still relatively common in poor neighborhoods. As a side effect, he was struck with tremors known as Sid Vitrus dance. These progressively became worse, and he ended up being bedridden for 4 weeks. However, during this time, his mother made sure to feed his love for art through comic books and other sorts of media while he was bedridden. Many people will still think of Andy Warhol as just the Campbell's soup man, but in reality, there's still very many different aspects to his life that are very important and shouldn't be overlooked. Coming from humble beginnings, it really shows that anybody can come from wherever and become a successful artist. He went from being a children's book illustrator all the way to the biggest pop artist known in history. His bright colors, his screen printing, and his art style is all very noticeable in any environment. He had slight quirks like his cookie jar collection, but he still held good morals and values through his art.